We've all got this picture in our heads of what getting older is supposed to look like, but what if I told you that picture is completely wrong? That the slow decline we've all been taught to expect isn't really inevitable at all. We're going to dive into this because the science reveals a pretty stunning truth about the power you have to build your own future.
Okay, so take a look at these three images. They're MRI scans of, get this, human thighs. Now, on the surface, they look pretty different, right? But the story they tell is going to completely reframe how you see the years ahead. It all boils down to one question. Which of these futures are you building for yourself?
All right, first up, this is the thigh of a 40-year-old triathlete. I want you to just look at the quality of that tissue. See all that dark, dense area? That is pure, healthy muscle with very little fat. Think of it like a perfect flank steak, lean and powerful. This is our gold standard for vitality. Now let's look at this one. This is the thigh of a 74-year-old who's lived a pretty sedentary life. And the difference is, well, it's shocking. The dark muscle tissue has shrunk way down, and it's been invaded by all that white stuff. That's fat. The orthopedic surgeon Dr. Vonda Wright has the perfect analogy. It's become like a well-marbled piece of Colby beef. And this is what most of us think aging looks like. But hold on, because this is where it gets incredible. This is the thigh of another 74-year-old, but this one is also a triathlete. Just look at it. It's almost indistinguishable from the 40-year-olds. The same dense muscle, the same minimal fat. It's just this stunning visual proof that the key variable here isn't your age, it's your activity level. So, this brings us to the first huge idea we need to tackle, the myth that aging automatically means decline. And here's the crucial point, which Dr. Wright puts so perfectly. For decades, when scientists studied aging, they were mostly just looking at the general population. But since so many people are inactive, we weren't really studying aging, we were studying the effects of sitting still for a lifetime. And that's a total game changer. It means your genes are not your destiny, not even close. Research shows that a whopping 80% of your health outcomes as you get older are determined by your lifestyle choices. Only 20% comes down to genetics. Just think about that. You are overwhelmingly in the driver's seat. This idea that we're all just doomed to get weaker? Dr. Wright calls it a mind virus. And that's just the perfect term for it. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. We believe we're supposed to slow down, so we stop moving, we stop trying, and then, of course, we get weaker. It's a cycle that we have to be the ones to break. So if lifestyle is the key, then what's the actual engine that turns that key? Well, that brings us to our second point, muscle. This is the powerhouse behind everything we saw in those MRI scans. We usually think of muscle as being for looks or for lifting heavy stuff, but it is so much more than that. Your skeletal muscle is a massive, metabolically active organ. It's your body's #1 sink for glucose, which means it helps control your blood sugar and fight off metabolic disease. It's literally command central for your vitality. And this brings us right back to that awesome steak analogy. On one side, a sedentary lifestyle gives you that Colby beef muscle, weak and fatty. On the other hand, an active lifestyle builds strong, dense, powerful muscle, a flank steak. So the question is, which engine do you want powering your body for the next 40 or 50 years? Now let's talk about the load that engine has to carry. We tend to think gaining a little weight here and there is no big deal. So let's just say you gain 1 single pound. Well, because of the physics of how our bodies work, that 1 pound of body weight puts 9 pounds of extra pressure on your knees. 9. So gaining 10 pounds isn't just gaining 10 pounds. It's like asking your joints to deal with 90 extra pounds of pressure with every single step. This is exactly why maintaining a healthy body composition is so critical. Okay, this all might sound a little urgent, and you know what? It is. But the science also shows there's a very specific window of time where our actions have this outsized, massive impact on our future. If you just do nothing and follow the natural path, this is what it usually looks like. You hit your peak muscle and bone mass around age 30. Then, starting around 40, your cardio fitness can drop by about 10% every single decade. And then by 63, for the average person, their health span, their years of truly healthy living, ends. And that's when chronic diseases start showing up. And that brings us to this huge point. The decade between 35 and 45 is what Dr. Wright calls your critical decade. This is the prime opportunity. This is the time to build the muscle, the bone, and the habits that will fundamentally change that downward trajectory for the rest of your life. So what does course correcting actually look like? Well,
The great news is, it doesn't have to be some super complicated program. In fact, it can be broken down into a simple, really memorable blueprint. Dr. Wright calls it the FAC framework. F is for flexibility, warming up and cooling down the right way. A is for aerobic exercise, building up that cardiovascular engine. C is for carry a load, and this one is non-negotiable. You have to lift heavy things to build muscle and bone. And finally, E is for equilibrium, training your balance to prevent falls. And the best part is how incredibly simple it is to start. For flexibility, just do a quick 5-minute warm-up. For aerobic, go for a walk. To carry a load, you can start with simple bodyweight squats. And for equilibrium, just try brushing your teeth while standing on one leg. These tiny daily actions are the start of a massive change. And that really brings us to the most powerful takeaway from all of this, and it's simply this: you have a profound level of control over how you age. So we need to reframe the goal. It's not about the number on the scale. The real goal is body recomposition. You want to lose that metabolically unhealthy fat while building that metabolically active muscle. You might even end up weighing more, but your body is going to be so much stronger, healthier, and more resilient. I absolutely love this quote from Dr. Wright. She says, "Muscle is nature's Spanx." It's just a great way to think about it, right? You're building a strong, functional, internal structure that supports everything. You're not just losing weight. You are building strength from the inside out. So let's just end with this thought. It is so easy to put things off for a future self we can't really imagine. But what if you could? Imagine you at 97 years old, healthy, vibrant, independent. That person is listening right now. They are counting on the choices you make today. So the only question left is, what are you going to do for them?